I'm Callie Lawson-Freeman with Yahoo Sports, joined by the WBA's reigning Rookie of the Year, Aliyah Boston of the Indiana Fever, on behalf of Coke Zero Sugar. But we'll talk about that later. First, I want to talk about March Madness, because this is a year where I've seen a lot of prominent figures saying that they can name more women's college basketball players than men's. And you know the big names. You're an analyst, you're an alum, you're close to the game. We know the Caitlin Clarks, the Juju Watkins, the Angel Reeses, the Mylasia Fulwiley's even. But name me somebody, tell me somebody you think people should know that they don't.
Well, I think everyone knows her, but I don't think they talk about her enough. And that name would definitely be Hannah Hidalgo of Notre Dame. I think Hannah is spectacular. The way that she competes, especially as a freshman coming in, winning ACC Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, like that's a lot. And I know that Juju is killing, especially as a freshman. And we have obviously like Malaysia, and then we have other people around the country. But I just think Hannah Hidalgo deserves a lot more conversation, a lot more talk that she doesn't get because she deserves it.
Period. Shout out to Hannah. We love that. So we've got that on deck. People, wake them up. We're doing it. I want to talk about one other thing. Quick hard pivot. You were the Fever's #1 pick last year. Team has the #1 pick again. Everybody is saying it's Caitlin Clark. It's Caitlin Clark. I'm not making this up. I saw someone say that you guys have the potential to be the best duo ever. So now I have to ask you your personal top 3 basketball duos, top 3 of all time.
Oh my gosh, I needed to prep for this one. Oh gosh. Please, I feel like that's so hard. Okay, right now in like currently in our league in the W, I would definitely say like a Chelsea Gray and Asia. I think that duo right there, just a guard post combo, seen like no other. Like they just know where each other is. Oh gosh, can I just name some great players? Like I think
We need a
Coach
duo.
Staley.
We need a duo. Give me at
Oh,
least one more
please,
duo.
please, please. Okay, should I do college? Because I'm rocking with Raven Johnson and Camila Cardoso. Are you kidding me? That duo right there, untouchable. I'm not hearing it. I don't want to hear nothing else from nobody because because that duo right there, unmatched.
You know what?
Unmatched.
I'm not surprised by that answer, because you are a Gamecock down. You were always going to give that answer.
Yes.
And so Coke Zero Sugar, they just debuted a commercial. You're cheering hard in your South Carolina colors. And I would imagine that depiction is not much different than how you're watching the
No,
SEC
that's me.
championship
That's
game.
me. That's
Okay,
me. I'm
that's what
sitting on
I
my
figured. I was like, I
couch
gotta
and like
confirm.
jumping up and down. I'm like, hold on. Like everybody sit back. Everybody relax. It was intense.
So then that Camila Cardoso bank game winner at the last second,
I
you
expect
were,
nothing less. I expect nothing less. But I was going crazy. I was going crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, are we gonna go for a tie? What are we gonna do? And Camilla stepped back and shot that three. I was like,
yeah.
you know what? People don't know this, but Camilla shoots like great percentage from the three because at South Carolina, like we practice threes, like, and everybody has to shoot them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, shoot the three.
Mhm.
Shoot
No, that's what
it.
she said. She said in the post, she was like, I practiced those. So like
Yes.
we were like, okay,
Yes.
like we see that. So now I gotta ask you, Dawn Staley, she said that people always ask her the difference between this year's team and last year's team. And she said that the fight that happened, the SEC championship game, would have never happened because you would have been the
Oh,
referee
for
and
sure.
escalator.
Oh, for sure. I don't
Really?
know.
Okay, so
It's
I need to
just
know, what
like,
was the moment that made you realize like that's me, I'm the de-escalator.
no, it's just always been from the jump, I think. Like, I think we'd have some of us just be like, oh, you know what? If she says something to me, I'm like, no, 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 we don't have to do that. I'm like, we don't have to do that. I'm like, let's just hoop and be happy. Like, don't stress. And it was so funny. I texted in the Freshies group chat. I said, y'all, I would have already shut it down. That's so funny that Coach Silly said that because I definitely texted in our Freshies group chat and everybody was like, Aaliyah, we know. Like, just can't you just can't help yourself. I'm like, no, because let's just
Let's
woosah.
just
Woosah.
woosah. Take a deep breath. So, I mean, you're almost kind of answering my next question, but it was going to be, what do you think went wrong in that game from the opening tip to the finish? Like, what was the turning point that really messed things
Like
up?
spark that. I
Yeah.
just think, listen, if everybody really watched the game, you know that there was smack talk from like the opening tip. And I think that if there's gonna be smack talk, like that's totally cool because we're competitors and like we don't limit smack talk to certain players, certain teams. But if we're gonna do that, then we also need to make sure there's like we have to control it. And the controlling part definitely comes from the refs. but just understand that like you have two competitive teams here. Like nobody's gonna want to back down, but you can't let stuff go on. Like I feel like there are a lot of videos right now, even like surfacing of like things that happened in the game. And I just think like you have to be able to put a stop to it early
Mhm.
because now it's kind of like there's a buildup, like whether that's pulling a jersey or pushing someone off. Like I just think there's a buildup, but I mean it's just hard. Like I know that's what everyone's talking about, but like before that or even after that, like it was great
It
basketball,
was
and I
great.
think that
I agree.
still has to be the conversation, the focus, because like both teams, like or at least just my Gamecocks, can't even lie, like will be in that championship game. But you want you want teams that are competitive. Like you want like really good games that are like, ooh, am I gonna pee my pants? Ooh, like I don't know what to do. Like I know my mom was at that game probably about to pee her pants because she was nervous. Like, but that's the kind of excitement that you want. Like there's so much talk about women's basketball right now. There's so much conversation. There's so much activation going on around that. This is what you want. Like you don't have to focus in on the fight. And I know that everybody wants to focus on a little scuffle, but hey, it's okay. Live, laugh, love. Okay, we move on. There's
Love
March
that.
Madness. There's games coming up.
So wait, you real quick. You mentioned your mom, so we gotta get into that because Dawn has said your mom is the voice of
Oh
reason.
yeah,
In
no,
addition
she
to you,
is.
you said that you talked to the freshies, but did you talk to the current team? Did your mom talk to the current team? What are like the words of encouragement going
Oh,
forward?
I don't know. I mean, she probably already texted some of the players by themselves. I don't know. She runs her own her own race right there. But no, I mean, I didn't text any of the players about it personally because I feel like you don't want to one harp on something like way too much. Like I feel like everybody in the situation, whether that's South Carolina or LSU, knows that everything has to be cool from here. Like we're not that's not our goal. That's never our intention anyways. And so it's kind of like, okay, you know what y'all won? It really wasn't pretty, especially the last 2 minutes was not pretty. But guess what? It's okay. We move
It's
on.
okay. Okay, so finally, tell me about what you have going on with Coke Zero Sugar. We need all the tea, even though it's about.
Yeah. I mean, it's just super exciting to be with Coke Zero Sugar just because, they're really giving you that fan feel, right? Like fan work, I don't, it's just these ways, thirsty work. Like you are hungry for it, you are thirsty for it. Like you want your team to win. You're cheering on so hard. And I think that's what I'm excited about because the way I root for my Gamecocks, I don't even know if the way I look at that commercial is really enough. Like it's so crazy. Like I am jumping up. I remember when I went to LSU game, like they had me on the camera. I'm like, my ponytail's about to fall out. I'm like cheering. Like, but that's what it is. Like that's fans all over the country.
Yeah.
And so it's really special for them to really get that point across of like how much our fans support women's sports and support their teams, especially around March Madness. I mean, it's really special.
Yeah. I mean, you talked about the fans all over the country and even just what you're doing with Coke. Like, you're a star of the game. And so you gotta move like a businesswoman. So what you're
Yes.
doing with Coke, that's a business move. And like your
Yes.
real successful foray into broadcasting, which you are killing, by the way. That's a business move. So kind of walk me through the process of how you make your decisions as a businesswoman in basketball.
Yeah. I think the most important part is just understanding and partnering with brands that align with you, right? Like you don't just want to accept and jump to every single deal because oh you think the money is good. Like it has to be more than that. And I think it's also about building long-term connections, like long-term partnerships. And that's something that I hope to do with a lot of the brands that I am partnering with because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And so it's just really special to be able to do this. Being a businesswoman is definitely something that I feel like I've always had that mindset for, but now I actually get to like live through it is really special for me.
Okay, so with Coke Zero Sugar or just wherever, what's next for businesswoman Aliyah Boston?
Well, I can't tell you. I gotta leave the surprise. So when you see the next big announcement, you're like, oh, that's why I shouldn't tell me. Oh, that's why I should. Exactly. But honestly, I think there's a lot of stuff in the works that I really would be hard to just point out one. So I'm really excited about what the future holds, especially when it comes to deals.
Well, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.